First Watch now.
What you need to know from the Cochise County Sheriff's Office.
Hosted by Cochise County Public Information Officers Carol Kappas and Grady Butler. First Watch on 92.3 KWCD.
And it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative, giving you an inside look into your Sheriff's Office. I'm Grady Butler, and with me is Carol Kappas, Public Information Officer with the Sheriff's Office, and Sheriff Mark Daniels. Good morning.
Good morning, Cochise County.
Hello, everyone.
Well, last weekend was Rex Allen Days, and there was a parade.
There was, and let me just say, the community came out in full force for that event. And car show, they always have a car show there, and they had 91 pre-registered just for the car show. I think they ended up like 140 cars that came over there. The parade route was just packed with kids and people, and it was a really nice event. People were excited. People were friendly. Hats off to Wilcox and that community. They came up for that parade. So I think people are just ready to get out and start celebrating again.
That's right, and part of that is making sure that people, have a good time and that they don't drink and drive. So the DUI task force was out, and I don't want to say it's a good thing that they only made 2 arrests, but hopefully people are paying attention and they're not, doing what they shouldn't be doing and endangering lives.
Well, that's exactly right, Carol. We're going into the holidays, and that's when people start celebrating, coming off COVID, so people feel a little more free, if that's such a good way to express that. But bottom line is, there's going to be a lot of celebrations. And there was 2 arrests up in the Wilcox area by the DUI task force. And you look at it I think that's a good thing. First of all, the numbers were low, only 2. But the other thought on that is we saved 2 lives. 2 people that were impaired, we pulled them off the road. And we're always the bad guy, I get it. But I'd rather be the bad guy than somebody has to go to a fatality crash. So it's a good thing.
We also had some scams that are popping back up. We just talked about it in the news here on the radio, but people are calling and asking for the last 4 digits of your Social Security number, and if you don't supply those, a warrant for your arrest will be issued.
Yeah, and we don't call people, and we don't say that, number one. Number 2 is this. If somebody's asking for your Social Security number and you don't know who that is, don't give it to them. Don't give it to them. If you're going to give your Social Security number, do that over in person, like if you're at a bank or some other financial institution or whatever you're doing. But the bottom line is, just don't give up that personal information. And again, I'll say it again, is if you in doubt, call your local law enforcement. Let's take a look at that.
And if ever you're getting someone's calling you, be immediately wary of giving information. If you're calling somebody, that's fine. Or if they say we're with this person, hang up and call that bank back or whatever you need to do.
Right. Verify who you're talking to.
Yeah.
And that's why I say in-person's best. Otherwise, you need to know who you're talking to. Otherwise, good chance it's going to be a scam. Because once they get your information, it's hard to retract that.
Yep.
And so it's been a busy week. A lot of stuff going on. I don't know what week is not busy, but a lot of things.
I'm waiting for that week to come and say, God, we didn't do anything this week. It was great. Let's just talk.
Let's plan on that. I don't know when it's going to happen.
We really need to do that.
So part of the thing in the climate that we're in right now is we've been getting a lot more calls in the past 2 weeks about political signs.
Oh, that's a hot
being
topic.
Damaged, stolen, defaced, whatever. And you mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, telling people, that it's a violation of the law, so please don't do that. And it's continued to happen, and again, increasing calls for service for the Sheriff's Office, particularly. I don't know about other law enforcement agencies. So we just want to make sure we encourage people, please don't do that.
Yeah, don't tamper with them. We don't mess with them in law enforcement. We ask you not to do the same. And or to do the same, excuse me. And it is a crime. It's a crime to go out and tamper, damage, manipulate any political signs, unless it's on your private property. If you own the property in question, you can do whatever you wish with a political sign. Somebody puts one on there. And I've had people call me where they put a sign like in front of their house, but still on the right-of-way. What I suggest is call that candidate, discuss that with them, and most of them are going to be respectful enough to move it down or move it away, or call that political party, and ask them, hey, can you contact this candidate and address this sign? I think that's really important. And but for us to start moving signs as citizens is wrong, completely wrong, and illegal.
You had a meeting with the ranchers on Monday. What was that about?
We have a ranch advisory team, and that is made up of ranchers throughout Cochise County, from the east side over by New Mexico, central into the valley, all the way over here to the west side. And they're an advisory group. They've been vetted through the Sheriff's Office, and these ranchers provide us information. It's shared, it's trusted, where we work very close. You know, we're going to, believe it or not, people forget this, because especially the ones that live over here, but we're an agriculture county. It's an agriculture state. And having that relationship with our ranchers and farmers is so important, and it's been very beneficial. And when it comes to our efforts, when it comes to smuggling, for example, these ranchers have endured smuggling on their lands for years. And having that dialogue, having a couple of deputies that are ranch deputies that spend time with them all the time, and gathering that intel, hey, in the back of my property, there's a lot of traffic right now. We can address that, and we are. And that's what the border team does and the ranch team does. And it's built into a great relationship. To include all our ranchers that are out of cell phone coverage areas, we give them radios. They have their own radios where they can call us directly. So they're out there on a horse and looking for cattle or addressing whatever, and they see smugglers. All you do is get on that radio and say, hey, this is rancher, plain language. Here's what I got, and we're on our way. So it works out really well. Provides that peace of mind, too.
And so along those same lines and getting back out to the community and how we reach out, you have a weekly message that you send to the troops, to the sheriff's office, and we've been sharing that, again, on our social media sites. And it's been informative for people who don't understand what's going on inside of the four walls. So you did that again, and we've had some pretty good responses from it.
We do, and I do that since COVID hit. COVID's changed how we do things, especially in leadership. And one thing I'm the advocate for the sheriff's office and the men and women that work there. So when it comes to protecting them, informing them, and embracing them right now, I mean, this is something we've never experienced. So I want to make sure they get messages from me, because just like in our communities, we're not out as much as we used to, and I'm not going to certain areas. It's just hard to see my deputies and staff. As our jail, for example, I haven't been to the jail as much as I usually go because of COVID, for example. So that challenge is within our organization. So if I can get a message out to them, and I usually do a weekly message to the employees, this is what's going on. These are highlights. Keeps everybody informed, which is a sense of buy-in and value there. But I put out a message this week about how we invest within our communities, ourselves, and our families.
We also had an officer that you mentioned in that email, in that message, that kind of stopped an inmate from escaping and kind of got like an accolade for that.
She did. She was at Copper Queen Hospital in Bisbee, took an inmate down there for a procedure, and we get the message that he just escaped. He's running. So one of my sergeants and then my detention commander and I went down to Copper Queen, got down there very quickly, and I told him I'll be outside looking, run inside, get some information, and he calls me on the radio and says, hey, she got him. So our detention officer, Officer Pacheco, did an amazing job. I mean, he started to fight with her, tried to break away from her. She took him down. I remember I walked in the hospital, the health staff, the nurses, were like, hey, your officer did very, very well. And because it keeps people safe. Now think about Copper Queen for a minute. It's right next to Greenway School. And when I was coming down to the hospital, I looked over, all the kids were outside playing. So having an inmate that gets away from us is never, never a good thing. So we'll put every resource to bring that person back into custody. But this officer prevented a real tragedy from happening, not letting this guy get away. So
that's right. You
proud
did a
of her.
great job.
That's awesome. Domestic Violence Awareness Month is October.
It is, and I know the Arizona Sheriff Association, Western Sheriffs, has a big campaign on that. We actually wear a purple shirt and supported this month and bringing awareness to this problem in our country, and it's a very sad situation throughout the United States when it comes to domestic violence, and we have the same issues here. We truly do. They're tough calls to go to. They're emotional calls to go to, and there's no winners. I can just assure you that. There's no winners. When emotions get out of whack and a spouse hits another spouse, I mean, our law in Arizona says it's a shall law, which means if there's a form of violence, somebody will go to jail, if not both. So, again, those are tough calls to go to, especially when there's children involved. That makes it very tough.
And some of the other things that have been keeping you busy has been, we'll do this in order. The Southwest Border Sheriffs Association has you as part of their board, the newly elected, and then a memorial service that we did. So let's start with the Sheriff's Association.
Yeah, that's the Southwest Border Sheriffs Association. It's the 31 border sheriffs on the southwest border. Sheriffs, we have an association along with the Texas sheriffs, and they're actually combined into that, the 250-some Texas sheriffs. So what happens is we meet monthly, quarterly, depending on the need. COVID, again, has separated a lot of those interactions. We're going to have our next meeting in Reno, by the way, in March. But they had their election of board members and a process of elimination. I'm now the secretary, part of their executive board. And I'm like, listen, and again, actually, I denied that. I said, listen, if you can find somebody else to do that, new sheriff, and it came back to me. And unfortunately, my microphone wasn't working on the virtual that I was on, so I'm like, every time I'd say no, they went to the vote right away. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but again, it's recognition by my peers, so I appreciate that.
And that was a good thing. That is going to just add to your list of things to do.
Yes, that was totally my thought. It really was. Like, what am I going to put this time in for this?
And then, Mel Beck, we mentioned that when he passed several weeks ago, being a Sheriff's Assist team member, and we have some people from the Sheriff's Assist team that are coming on next to talk about some things. But him and his wife, Gloria, very instrumental in helping out the Sheriff's office. And they had a nice memorial service for him on Wednesday at CCOM. So you were there, you presented the flag to Gloria, and it was a very nice gesture for us to show our appreciation to people who dedicate their time and effort to our mission.
Well, our volunteers are part of our law enforcement family, and Mel and Gloria are they're just awesome people. I don't know how else I can say that. I don't think I've ever heard a negative thing come out of his mouth. I mean, he's just the kind of guy that will do anything for you. Gloria, in the same breath, same type of person, and that's a caliber of person of people that serve on that Sheriff's Assist team and our volunteers, which we have 100 of them between Sheriff's Assist team and Search and Rescue and others, but. Yeah, those are tough ceremonies, and John Black, the commander, who's going to be on the show here in a few minutes, and his team did a very good job to put that little ceremony together in honor of Mel and celebrating his life, and just bringing our sheriff's family together and some community folks.
That's right, and we appreciate it. You know, the trumpet at the end is what gets you.
Oh yeah, that's tough. That's really tough, and yeah, those are never easy to go to, and but I'm telling you, I'm so proud of that team and the members within.
And finally, one of the things that we're working on as far as investigations is there was a homicide in Cochise County outside of Douglas, just north of the border, in 1994. And it was with a suspect that we had who worked at Border Patrol at the time. And so he was also involved most recently in murder-suicide in Texas. And so that provided us with additional leads to go back and revisit that 1994 case. And so we're working on that now.
Yeah, that was I remember that case. I mean, a lot of people might not remember that. It happened down in the Douglas area where we had two individuals shot and killed down in Douglas. And one of our prime investigative leads was a Border Patrol agent, and the detectives investigative team worked that. It was a high-profile case back in 1994. The agent was reassigned into El Paso, Texas, and the case didn't go anywhere. And so what happened here last month was he was involved in shooting and killing his wife, and then when I think Doña County Sheriff's Office out of Las Cruces, a fugitive team was taking him down, going after him. He shot and killed himself, but based on what I've read. And now this case has brought some new light to what our case was in 1994. So we're looking at some leads here. Let's just say that without getting into big details. So we'll see if we can bring some justice to that case.
And hopefully we'll be able to do that because people, obviously the family still lives in the area and they're very impacted. So hopefully we'll be able to bring some closure to them.
You know, these are tough cases. Any of these high-profile cases are tough. They truly are. You know, we go out there, we provide our skills, our talents, we collect evidence, and though we might think we have a good case or we don't, the bottom line is sometimes we just don't have the facts that we need, and it's frustrating because, like you said, Carol, these victims want justice. They truly want justice, and we serve the justice system. We serve victims, and when we can't bring it, it's frustrating. And there's an impact, and then some people get very upset with us. But the criminal justice system is based on the standards of proof, and if we don't have it, we don't have it. And the county attorney works very close with us on that. And again, I wish we could bring justice to every victim that calls 911, but unfortunately, we know that's not real. It's truly not real. But we do our darndest to bring justice. We really do.
And two shout-outs. One, there's a gentleman who lives in Sierra Vista who brings us food all the time, you know, whether it's or goodies or appreciation, tokens of appreciation to Sierra Vista. He's gone to Benson. He's gone to Bisbee. Doesn't want to use his name, but we just wanted to make sure we know he's listening. So Thank you most recently for donating the Halloween candy. We still have it. We haven't eaten it. So we're good with that.
And we're talking about Anthony. I won't say his last name.
No.
Anthony's another one. I can say
Yes,
Anthony's name.
yes.
Anthony's another one.
Yes, that's true. And then also, if you're looking for something to do starting today, the Henry Hauser Museum has their newest display, Sierra Vista Sports Through the Ages, and it goes from 1940s through today. They're open Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. And Elizabeth and Marty have put together some stuff, including, skates from the skating ring, bowling pins from the original bowling alley, cheerleading and wrestling uniforms, the part of the Old Buena gym floor, and other paraphernalia, and I know that's not true.
Buena football's out there?
Memorabilia, not paraphernalia. Buena football's out there, so take a look at that and just, see what you can do, and great job to everybody who worked on that.
They do very well over that, the Hauser Museum. They do very well putting that together. They did a law enforcement a couple of years ago, if you remember, and it just looks so nice. So, yeah, they called me this week. They needed some stuff in Buena, so I hooked them up over there, and they said that same day the football coach was down there. That's why I say football. I know it's down there. So they gave them a football uniform. It's all down there. So you'll see that when you walk in there.
Good.
Let's do your safety message of the week and talk about the solid white lines on a road.
Solid white lines. The prime example is when you come up on I-10. I'm going to use this one. It's an easy one. When you come up on I-10 and you're doing the merge and you see the white lines, and they're painted white lines, and then they got those stridations in the middle, that's actually, they call that a gore, which means you can't cross that. That's not something you can get into. It's in fact, it's illegal to get into the gore area, which is the painted white lines. And no different than if you're making a left-hand turn and you're inside the solid, let me repeat that, solid white lines. Once you're committed, you can't come out of it. And you see people do that all the time. Then they pop out of it. Oh, I don't want to go that way. That is illegal. And a lot of people don't realize the reason it is because when you're going straight, then a car pops in front of you out of that solid white line and you cause the accident. That will be your fault. You will own that. There's also a statute under lane usage called unsafe lane usage, where you just can't pull out of a lane unsafely. But the bottom line, my message today is if you're in those solid white lines, whether you're turning, whatever you're doing, you cannot cross that solid white line. That would be illegal. And it's all about safety. It's to prevent accidents.
Well, Sheriff Mark Daniels, we thank you for coming and talking to us today.
Thanks, Grady. Thanks, Carol. Tomorrow I'll be in Benson for the
Butterfield Stage.
Butterfield Stage. We'll be up there at that parade. So if you got nothing to do tomorrow, come see us in Benson tomorrow.
Who do we got coming in next, Carol?
We have Sheriff's Assist Team Dan Long and Commander John Black.
It's First Watch on KWCD Country, and it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
The 8th Annual Cochise County Sheriff's Charity Ride is November 7th.
This year, Jeeps, motorcycles, and side-by-sides.
And you can choose on- or off-road routes.
You're encouraged to show your support for America and public safety personnel.
Cost is $17 plus $10 per passenger, and kids are $5. Early registration deadline is October 12th, and that gets you 15% off.
100% of the proceeds will go back into our community through Shop with a Cop, Velo Vets, and Real Wishes Foundation.
This year, registration is online only.
Can't make the event? Purchase Charity Ride swag or register online at cochise.az.gov/sheriff/charity ride.
Special thanks to our presenting sponsors, American Southwest Credit Union and Lawley Automotive.
Get more information or register online at cochise.az.gov/sheriff/charity ride.
It's First Watch Now.
Hosted by Public Information Officer Carol Kappas and Grady Butler.
On 92.3 KWCD.
Welcome back to First Watch, brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative. And back with us today are our Sheriff's Assist Team members. We have Commander John Black and we have Assist Team member Dan Long. So welcome, John. Just tell us a little bit about you and who you are and what you're doing here.
Thanks, Carol. Well, I've been associated with the Sheriff's Office as a member of the Sheriff's Assist Team for 15 years now, and it's an outstanding organization. We do non-law enforcement activities in support of the Sheriff's Office and also help with crime deterrence. That's our primary mission. We have about 40 members, all totally outstanding members that have to go through a vetting process that's about the same as if you were actually applying to be a deputy. Because of that, we have really trustworthy and loyal and hardworking individuals in the organization. We stay around 40 members, and some of our people have been in for a number of years. If you have the local newspaper, the Herald, this morning, right on the front page, is an outstanding article about one of our members, and unfortunately passed away in August. And we had a ceremony and memorial service for him just Wednesday afternoon because we wanted to honor him. But he had been a member for 13 years. Mel Beck served us honorably and with distinction during that time. Our organization is actually split in two different elements. First of all, the patrolling and call-out element. And these are the folks that have access to marked units and are called out for wildland fires, crashes, wrecks, and providing security for crime scenes. And the other is what we call direct support to the sheriff's office, and they're primarily administrative. They do fingerprinting and help with administrative matters. I've got one of our outstanding members here with us today. Dan Long is going to talk about two topics. First of all, a radio repeater that is located in Sierra Vista but was going to be non-operable in about 2 months, and when we learned about the status, and we tried to figure out what we could do to help with the radio communications in the area. And the second topic is he's been going around and checking the sheriff's issued radios that are in schools all across the county. So I'll let him go into the detail of those two topics. Dan?
Good morning, and thank you, John. Talking about the radio repeater. It's called GERMIS, and that's an FCC acronym for General Radio Mobile Service. And it's an allotment of frequencies that's available to community, and it's similar to ham or amateur radio, but there's a couple of differences. With amateur radio, you are required to take and pass a test to be issued a license. And when that license is issued, it is good only for the license holder, one individual. With GMRS, a license is issued, no test is required, and it's good for the entire family, including spouse, sons, daughters, aunts, uncles, on down the line. So for a small fee, for a 10-year license, that fee goes a long way to opening up communications. And touching on the communications piece of it, what's it really for? And this repeater is open to the community at no charge. And thanks to a generous grant from the Legacy Foundation of Southeastern Arizona, they are paying to replace the defective repeater. We hope to have that up on the air in about 2 weeks or so. So I want to thank them publicly for that. And so what it does is it's used for families that they might be out in the mountains, mountain biking, hiking, four-wheeling, whatever the case may be. And if you're out of cell range and in the vicinity of Sierra Vista, you would have an alternate means of communication. And that's what it's for primarily, but it goes further than that. And it's also another book on the shelf, if you will, in terms of emergency communications. And what that means is if there's any disaster in the county, cell phones go down, which happens because they typically get overloaded, and it just maxes out the cell system, or there's a loss of infrastructure, and they simply don't work. So this would be an alternative means of emergency communications. And this repeater is going to be linked with the Tucson GMRS Association. And they have a mission statement. And I'd like to just read that. It'll give everybody maybe a better idea of what GMRS Communications is about. Their mission statement is to promote the use and development of GMRS radio service and promote a natural interest in radio communications with the community, thereby improving public well-being, safety, and emergency preparedness. And obviously the preparedness is the most important part. But there are added benefits, like I said, just a day-to-day use of families keeping in touch with families.
And that's more information. We're going to flesh that out a whole bunch and make sure that we put that information out for people so that they can see if it would be beneficial for them to join in this group and be able to access it. And again, at no fee, correct?
Only the license fee.
Okay. And so that's really not going to be a bad deal. And again, once we can put that all together and get it out, we can make sure that people understand that.
Absolutely.
And one of the other really good things that you are doing specifically, Dan, is there were several radios purchased for not only ranchers, which the sheriff spoke to a minute ago, but also radios for schools. In the event that there was a mass casualty or a major event, they would have an opportunity to have direct one-on-one contact with our communication center. And so as part of your duties and assignments, and you've been doing an outstanding job, is going to each school. So tell us a little bit about what you do with the school radios.
The school radios are just an amazing gift to the schools. Giving them the ability, again, it's another book on the shelf to be used in an emergency. It provides the school with a direct radio link to dispatch, to CCOM, and it's just notches it up one more step above the 911 system. So my responsibility and what I do is every fall and every spring, and I'm in the process of doing it right now. I have about half of the county school radios tested to this point. As I visit each school, make sure the radio is operational, check the battery, make sure the radios are charged, and then I ask the school officials to test the radio for me. And the reason I do that is because it introduces them or refreshes them in the use of that radio. It's only used in an emergency, so it'll be very infrequent. So I want to make sure that they know what to do, how to use it, how to turn it on, and so on.
And so that's one of the things. They have used it in the past since they've gotten. I know that there's been at least one usage, and if they don't use it, they tend to forget how to use it. So with you going around consistently and making sure that you keep people on their toes, if you will, that's a great way to make sure that we keep on top of our obligation to help keep people safe and to help them network back with us through you. So thank you so much for doing that.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
And Commander Black.
Let me add to that. When Dan started doing this, we found some, and we're not going to name the schools, but there were some schools where when he went in and asked where the radio was and he wanted to, test it, people wouldn't know where it was. And they said, it's locked in the principal's desk in his office. Well, that's not going to help anybody. So Dan has, they found one in the bus barn. He has brought them to a level of readiness that is twice as good as it was when he started. It's still not there yet because sometimes they let the battery, or they don't put it on charger, but that sort of thing. But at least they know where the radios are, and they know that all they have to do is push the button and talk, and it goes to dispatch at CCOM. So he's really brought that level of readiness for the schools up a huge amount. It's got a little bit to go. The other point is, with Dan and some of the other volunteers doing that, a deputy doesn't have to do that. The deputy is released to do their law enforcement job full-time and don't have to worry about these non-law enforcement type responsibilities that the sheriff's office has. That's the value of the sheriff's assist team. A couple points to take away from our element this morning is, first of all, I'd like to give a pitch for the newspaper because a local newspaper, if you don't take it, you should. because there's a lot of information there that you miss out on, and either online or the actual paper. I like the article this morning about the SAT showing recognition and our respect for a deceased member that served for 13 years for the sheriff's office. Secondly, the Legacy Foundation. They're very easy to work with, and they're very focused on health and welfare of the community, the entire community, and so that's where that money came from, to buy that repeater. We don't have that kind of money, but we have the energy to put it into operation. The next point is we don't have a large turnover, but we're always looking for a few good men and women, just like the Marine Corps. We are focused on not quantity, but quality. And but you do lose people over time, and so we're looking. So if you're interested, I want you to send me an email at jblack@cochise.az.gov, and I'll come back to you, and then we can chat about what your value to the organization might be and what you need to do to apply.
Well, great. Everybody listening, seriously, we do have amazing people on our Sheriff's Assist team, just like the two of you. And it's, it starts from the top and goes down. And with the dedication, and again, how many hours, really quickly, did they put in last year?
About 10,000.
10,000 volunteer hours. That's 10,000 hours that the Sheriff's Office didn't have to put in, because we had you giving graciously of your time and efforts and knowledge and skills and abilities. So thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for sharing that information, and thank you for what you do.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
All right. Well, this is First Watch, and we have Cal Downing from Relay for Life coming up next.
The 8th Annual Cochise County Sheriff's Charity Ride is November 7th.
This year, Jeeps, motorcycles, and side-by-sides.
And you can choose on or off-road routes.
You're encouraged to show your support for America and public safety personnel.
Cost is $17 plus $10 per passenger, and kids are $5. Early registration deadline is October 12th, and that gets you 15% off.
100% of the proceeds will go back into our community through Shop with a Cop, Velo Vets, and Real Wishes Foundation.
This year, registration is online only.
Can't make the event? Purchase Charity Ride swag or register online at cochise.az.gov/sheriff/charity ride.
Special thanks to our presenting sponsors, American Southwest Credit Union and Lolly Automotive.
Get more information or register online at cochise.az.gov/sheriff/charity ride.
It's First Watch Now.
Hosted by Public Information Officer Carol Kappas and Grady Butler.
On 92.3 KWCD.
And it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative, giving you an inside look into your sheriff's office. I'm Grady Butler, and with me is Carol Kappas, Public Information Officer with the Sheriff's Office, and our next guest.
Welcome back, Cochise County, and we have Cal Downey with Sierra Vista Relay for Life. So welcome.
Hey, good morning, Carol and Grady. I appreciate you having me on today.
So tell us a little bit about you and what you do and why you're here.
Well, hey, I'm Cal Downey, and I've been a volunteer with Relay for Life since about 2014 when we were still in Texas, and got involved because a neighbor was diagnosed with cancer and needed help, and so Relay for Life of Comal County is where I got connected. And so when we moved to Arizona, I got involved with this organization as our first thing that we did here. I'm the event lead this year and overcoming some real challenges with the corona restrictions.
I bet. So kind of tell us what Relay for Life is. I mean, what do you guys do with that event?
So Relay for Life is the premier fundraising event in our community to raise funds to provide services and support to our cancer survivors and caregivers in the community. And so whether it's rides to treatment, helping to fund the house for overnight stays up in Tucson or Phoenix for people who are getting treatment outside the area, online 24-hour support. Not that we do it, but the money goes towards that. So that, in the darkest hour, when you get the diagnosis, what do I do? Who do I call? They help you navigate your way through all the medical things you need to do to fight back and survive.
And so what Relay for Life basically does is walks, right? Are there different types of events, or is it specifically that's what the premise is?
Yeah, so, it started in 1985 with a doctor up in Washington who ran for 24 hours straight to raise money and raise awareness for the fight against cancer. And so from that, we've gotten to 1.2 million volunteers and participants in the United States, and 2,200 events that are really moving. Walk. It's not like the old pay me by the lap kind of thing when we were in middle school, but it is a fundraising. But the relay event itself, and you've been there, the relay event isn't really, the day of is not necessarily about fundraising. It's about celebrating as a community about all the great work that the community participants and our sponsors have done to raise money, raise awareness to fight against cancer.
And they have you're specifically focused on the Sierra Vista event this year, and they have it throughout Cochise County at different times, correct?
So different cities in Cochise County have had relay events. Tombstone has had one, Bisbee's had one, Douglas has had it, Benson's had it. A lot of them, due to the volunteers getting older or less involvement, Relay for Life in Sierra Vista is the largest in Cochise County, and so we're super excited. And this year we've got teams from Douglas who are registered to participate with us virtually. So distance doesn't matter this year. We're instead of the mass event, we had 747 registered participants last year for Relay for Life at the park. We can't do that this year. Matter of fact, it was what I call a Seussian dilemma. We couldn't do it at the park. We couldn't do it at any other venue. We couldn't do it here or there. But can we do it somewhere? Yes, we can. And so we overcame it. And so we're doing it virtually. We will have a broadcast location, and Sheriff Mark Daniels will be there. Jeff Davenport is always bringing the personalities. Miss Sierra Vista outstanding team who really make our Mr. Relay event fundraiser piece a lot of fun. I tell you, having been a Mr. Relay drag lip sync dancing competitor, getting skewered by them during the interrogation phase was a challenge to stay in character. But it's we've got those folks at the broadcast location. George Broxson will be our DJ throughout the event, putting out the disco music throughout the Relayverse. We'll have Sierra Vista News Network is really integrating all of the feeds. So visualize, if you will, a Zoom meeting where each of the team sites is on a Zoom meeting, and it all gets integrated into one feed that gets put out to Facebook on our Sierra Vista SV Relay for Life Facebook page, or on the Sierra Vista News Network, and it'll be interactive. So all the things that we do at Relay at the Park are going to happen. So,
and when is this going to be?
The 17th of October.
17th of October. So how do we sign up?
So the easiest way to get information is go to our Facebook page, SV Relay for Life, or give me a call, 254-466-8217. Those are the easiest way to get information, or Google Relay for Life Sierra Vista, and it'll bring you to an American Cancer Society page where you can register, and that's another way to get in touch with me.
Are you looking for volunteers as well?
This year, I think we've got about what we're going to have.
Well, good. And so is there a goal in mind? Or you said how many people or whatnot that you've had last year. What is your goal? Do you have a goal in mind for this year?
So as you know, and we talked about earlier, the COVID has had a big impact on all of our charity and community organizations, both fundraising and participation. So last year, 747. We're hoping to get 250 signed up for this year. Fundraising last year, we raised just under $145,000 this year. We had a goal after a great year. We had a goal of $130,000. We had to recently rescope that down to $50,000, and as of this morning, we're just over $40,000. So it's been a tough fundraising year, and one of the things that I've been talking with the volunteers about is loyalty. Our sponsors have been loyal to us. Our sponsors have given over the years, and this is the year that maybe they can't. So I want to, even though we can't extend sponsorship benefits this year, what we are going to do is make sure that all those longtime supporters, we give them a shout out during the Relay for Life that gets broadcast Sierra Vista News Network and on our Facebook page, because we want the best for them, and we hope that when things get better, they'll be back.
And what can the community do for you right now?
So right now, we're raising money. So if you go to our Facebook page or you Google Relay for Life of Sierra Vista, you're going to get to the American Cancer Society page where you can donate, contribute. Contact me, and if you are interested in being a sponsor of the Relay for Life, I'll send you a sponsorship packet and talk you through it. We are collecting cans to hold luminarias, and so at the Uptown 3 Theater on Tuesday from 5:30 to 7:30, we will be accepting donations at that time and cans, and then all of the canned goods get donated as we do every year to local food banks.
All right. Well, we thank you for coming in and talking today. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we go? He's looking through his notes.
I know.
I know. This.
There's a lot.
I got to tell you, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. And, cancer hasn't quit, neither can we.
There you go. We're going to talk about our charity ride in just a few, so keep it right here. But right now, here's a little bit of information about it.
The 8th Annual Cochise County Sheriff's Charity Ride is November 7th.
This year, Jeeps, motorcycles, and side-by-sides.
And you can choose on or off-road routes.
You're encouraged to show your support for America and public safety personnel.
Cost is $17 plus $10 per passenger, and kids are $5. Early registration deadline is October 12th, and that gets you 15% off.
100% of the proceeds will go back into our community through Shop with a Cop, Velo Vets, and Real Wishes Foundation.
This year, registration is online only.
Can't make the event? Purchase Charity Ride swag or register online at cochise.az.gov/sheriff/charity ride.
Special thanks to our presenting sponsors, American Southwest Credit Union and Lolly Automotive.
Get more information or register online at cochise.az.gov/sheriff/charity ride. So that's the charity ride commercial that you keep hearing on the radio, but there's a little bit more information that we can put into it about T-shirts.
So historically, when you've done your registration, when you get to the location we were having at Southwest Credit Union, American Southwest Credit Union, you would go from table to table. So you'd get a pen, you would get your registration, you would get your T-shirt in whatever size you wanted, then you would get the opportunity to buy raffle tickets, et cetera, et cetera. So this year it's a whole lot different because of the restrictions we have placed. So the registrations are online, and the shirts are not included in your registration cost. So please, 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 if you anticipate being in the ride, we'd love to see you there, but we definitely want you to have a T-shirt while you're going on the ride. You can always get it afterwards, but we want to make sure everybody knows if you want that article of clothing or that swag before the ride or to have it available for the ride, you have to make sure you get that ordered. Again, early registration is October 12th. You get the 15% off. We want to make sure that you have your shirts ordered. That may be able to be pushed to about the 15th. But don't go past that. We want to make sure that you have your order placed so you can get your product. Because if you're going to be wearing, an ASU T-shirt, don't do it. We want to make sure that you have a U of A T-shirt or you have your Charity Ride T-shirt that you can wear during the event, because that's what we're looking for. We're making sure that everybody gets involved, and things have changed drastically since last year to this year. So make sure you get your product, order it now. It's very, very important, and then you'll have it in time for going on this event.
And the event is November the 7th.
November the 7th.
Pre-registration for a discount is the deadline is this Monday, October 12th.
That's right.
But you can still register after that, but you won't get the 15% discount.
That's right. And you may not get your shirt to be there. So, jump on and sign up and do all those great things, because it's instead of just motorcycles, it's going to be motorcycles, it's going to be side-by-sides, and it's going to be Jeeps. So just the sheer number of people that own one or more of those things should just really consider coming out, supporting the cause. We have 3 great recipients for the event, and 100% of the proceeds go back out into our communities. So please, please make sure that you're there to support your community and you have a great time.
You can also fly the flag. You can back the blue. I mean, you can do lots of things to spruce up your vehicle as well.
That's right. And that's going to be important too, because it's going to be part of the whole event. We are just encouraging everybody to do that, so that we can make this, even though it's a COVID era, we can make this as part of the highlight in the sea of darkness that we're seeming to be living in.
It's First Watch on KWCD Country, and it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
You've been listening to First Watch with the Cochise County Sheriff's Office.
Hosted by Cochise County Public Information Officers Carol Kappas and Grady Butler.
Join us again next Friday morning, 7 to 8 a.m.
First Watch.
What you need to know from the Cochise County Sheriff's Office.
Only